What would it take for a political party to win your support?
To win my support, ideally, I'd like a party to not only espouse platforms and have platforms that reflect my values and my vision of Canada. Um, and I would also like them to be practical and understand economic reality as well.
Do something about inflation. Um, Again, do something more about our military. Definitely make some contributions more towards our health needs, our needs of doctors and nurses and all of those people. I think those are the big points.
They follow through on what they actually do in their campaign, right? And they're not going to sit there and lie to us multiple times. My favorite politician was Ralph Klein. I was 18 when he got in, and he did everything he said he would. People were mad at me. I'm like, but he made those promises in the campaign. You knew what he was doing because he's very clear.
Well, putting their money in the right spots and spending tax dollars properly. And like I said, even like if there was a huge push on financing mental health and this party really pushed that, I would vote for that party 100%.
I feel like for young people like me and others that I've talked to, inclusiveness and an open mind is what it takes. I feel like a lot of political parties are just very one way or the highway or whatever that saying is, but yeah.
Follow through, like the same as trust. Follow through with what you say. If you're giving more to healthcare, put it towards healthcare, but make sure that the people at the lower end aren't spending it on something else because it's a corporation that can steal it from one that's supposed to go to the other.
They need to become more centrists. I agree with neither the left nor the right at this point. I see the right particularly as going too far towards what I see as the hardline right conservative under the United States, and the far left is there's things we can't afford. I think for me to support somebody, we've got to be centrists. We used to call them red Tories. You were a conservative, you were a progressive conservative with a fiscal conscience, but also a social conscience. And I think that's what this country needs right now. Somebody in the middle.
At the end of the day, like politicians still need to do their job and focus on, getting things done to make sure the country runs right. So I think someone that's focused on that, maybe not too much on the kind of hot button issues that just get people excited. Like I get that you have a voter base, you want to keep that, but I just want to see people that are actually engaged in doing their job as a politician.
They'd have to grow up, become adults, and instead of this partisan bickering that's going on, honestly, it's become ridiculous.
Yeah. And what about you, sir?
I would agree with that, and to stop copying the American style of politicking. That's the issue.
I think what's been lost the last few years has been fiscal responsibility and where taxpayer money is going. I think there's a lot of great programs out there, but I want to know what that's going to cost me at the end of the day. And I want that information up front before I would vote. So I think that's kind of getting lost.
I'm not like a political minded individual anyways. I do vote, but it's usually, one of those votes at the very last minute where I'm like, okay, who do I pick? I mean, I don't hold, I vote because I know my vote counts, but I don't really think that I have too much in-depth knowledge about everybody's platforms when I'm voting, to be honest. I don't know if that's maybe a generational thing or...
Making the necessities more affordable for Canadians. That's the number one thing. And I think focusing on the housing issue too would be a big thing to get my support.
Improve the health system. And as a former teacher, to improve the education system.
I think in a lot of cases it's listening to people. I think a lot of people think it's lip service, that the politicians want to hear what you have to say 3 months before an election, and then it goes on deaf ears. So I think they want to see parties that follow through on what they promise and their concerns, and not forget about it the day after the election.
Mostly environmental stuff, because I love Mother Nature. I love going for walks. Start by making actual promises of helping the environment, going more green. Another thing, mental health, providing more mental health services for people like drug addicts, because I have a sister who was addicted to hardcore drugs, and she got out of that herself, so I'm very proud of her for that. but just providing more mental health services for addicts and recovering addicts and for people like me as well.
For me, it would be more awareness on the animal industry, on just the treatment of animals. I'm a vegetarian and I'm in the process of becoming vegan, and I find a lot of the parties have no interest or don't even bring that up. So if that was something that was brought up and actually something was done about it and talked about, that would pique my interest majorly. Yeah.
Be real about spending and the deficit. We can't live in debt forever. Operate the country like it's a household. At this rate, the country would have been foreclosed on long ago. We don't produce much as a country. We don't have a lot of exports. We buy everything from other countries. We're so dependent on others. Like, that's been happening for generations. So I think we need to get back more to that.